They emerged from the ashes of the Yardbirds and became the biggest band in the world. Tonight, it's about Led Zeppelin. In 1968, Jimmy Page asked Robert Plant and John Bonham if they'd like to join his band, the New Yardbirds, for a Scandinavian tour. They said yes. There happened to be one more spot to fill, and at the suggestion of his wife, bassist and keyboard player John Paul Jones asked Jimmy Page if he could join, and Led Zeppelin was born. Actually, rewind a couple of years before that, there were a group of musicians together, and as the story goes, it was Keith Moon who suggested if they were called Led Zeppelin, they'd go down like a lead balloon. Then Led Zeppelin was born. In 1969, Led Zeppelin dropped their debut self-titled album, a mix of heavy metal, rock, English folk, and heavy on the blues. Their legions of fans were buying this album. It was flying out of the stores, and they were lining up for concerts. It's almost like Led Zeppelin flipped a switch from the 1960s to the 1970s, from club dates to this. And if you look way in the back, that's me. No, I wasn't at that show, but I was at the Garden in '77. Anyway, along comes Led Zeppelin 2, widely regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time, and of course, it featured Heartbreaker and Whole Lotta Love. Led Zeppelin 3 was a departure for the band and not quite the success of the previous albums, but we did get two great concert staples off this album, Since I've Been Loving You and The Immigrant Song. Zeppelin was cranking out albums, and shown here in no particular order, over 500 million in record sales. But like any band, they didn't go without controversy. Now, in no means did Led Zeppelin invent groupies, but there were stories of how they treated them. Some of those stories exaggerated. Other stories, maybe not. Someone recently asked me, Franco, you lived it. What was going on between Led Zeppelin, the critics, and Rolling Stone magazine? There was never any love. And that's true. Zeppelin only got the Rolling Stone cover once. They didn't give many interviews, and I guess maybe because they weren't singing about peace, love, and having flowers in their hair. Maybe because they were rocking the blues. Rolling Stone magazine didn't give them a break. But the more the critics panned them, the stronger the following became. The lack of love very well could have been from the groupie stories or the stories about how violent their manager Peter Grant was. Either way, Led Zeppelin was the biggest band in the world. And you know the rest of the story, so let's go out on a high note.